Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Family Podcast with your two favorite brothers. My name is Sammy.
My name is Don.
And today we're going to be talking about Boopac Shakur. Okay, ladies and gents, let's get straight into this, yeah? So, last week, a 40-year-old father from Michigan was shot and killed after some sort of altercation at a restaurant.
Police say he confronted two men inside a Coney Island in Pontiac. Lee accused one of them of being a pedophile and punched him. In return, one of the men pulled out a knife, the other a gun, and shot Lee to death.
Right, so that was the first report. However, an online NBC News article seems to refute this, saying that the sheriff, Michael Bouchard, had corrected the record by stating, as we get deeper into this investigation, we have yet to find any corroborative information on that point. So there is no concrete evidence that he called the man the P word. But they do know that obviously it was a fatal incident.
Okay.
Yeah. Oakland County prosecutor Karen D. McDonald added, there is no evidence that the confrontation on September the 29th was a planned meeting or that it was part of any sting operation. Yeah. The shooters have only been identified as a 16-year-old boy and an 18-year-old man, although earlier accounts reported that the 16-year-old was 17. Okay?
Bro.
So.
Where are the facts?
Yeah.
But anyway, let's keep going.
So Lee was known by his online persona, Boopac Shakur, where he posed online as a 15-year-old girl in order to draw out P words. And he would confront them once they had agreed to meet up.
Let me holler at you, cuz. What you here for? What's up? You a pedophile, G. You here to pick up a little girl, ain't you?
He was mostly liked and commended for his efforts to rid the community of child predators.
We're going to honor his memory. We're here to show support and show that, you know, everything he did was not for nothing. We're here to show that he really made an impact on the community.
It has been reported that his efforts have led to arrests and criminal charges against several men.
Caught 35. He'll be number 35 that I caught.
However, he is not without controversy. He has made an allegation against somebody that ended up being false, and has had questionable tactics when confronting alleged offenders, such as slashing their tires.
Look at this. You ain't going nowhere, motherfucker. Yeah. Yeah, bitch ass nigga.
Oh, man.
That's a pedophile's car.
Finish him.
The county prosecutor said Mr. Lee's conduct has never been sanctioned or encouraged by law enforcement or the Oakland County Prosecutor's Service.
So basically all this ended in nothing.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But did mention that Lee's tactics could actually work against securing a successful conviction.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things about these people online who do things like this is that they don't understand due process. And so they can fall into things like entrapment. Which is obviously inadmissible, yeah. So sometimes they do it right, the right conditions, and they lead to convictions. Like I think it said one of the people that he led a conviction against was like someone who works within the legal sphere.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so like a police officer or something like that.
Fair.
The latest this week, he says, is an Oakland County Sheriff's deputy assigned to the jail who's now suspended without pay due to Robert's actions. Here is a snapshot of their conversations. While Robert says the deputy was actually on duty at the Oakland County Jail, Robert says that he's a 15-year-old girl several times through their very sexual conversation. Then Robert says the 33-year-old sends a picture of himself, and the two discuss how much the teen's services are for sex acts, and it gets even more graphic. A meetup never happened, but Robert blasted the suspected deputy on social media.
So he is out here doing decent work, yeah?
Quote unquote good work.
Yeah. However, like the methods are a bit mad. Like he pulls up on people like a hood brother. Like, pulls up, like, do you understand what I'm saying? And sometimes that can lead into some issues. So the first thing I want to ask,
the Snowfall Jerome. You ever watch Snowfall?
Yeah, the uncle.
Jerome, yeah.
Yeah. Nephew.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, okay. Here's the first question I want to ask, yeah? So they're saying that certain people don't know how to do this process properly. Yeah. And it's leading to people who actually who should be convicted, not being convicted. So there's a brother called EDP45. This is ages. We'll talk about internet law from back in the day, yeah?
Yeah.
And he basically was set up by a group of people who caught him trying to meet up with a girl, a young underage girl. Yeah. And when they confronted him, he said he was there to get cupcakes. Yeah. So it became this massive meme. And then eventually he admitted it on camera. You know, he was here to meet the girl.
Again, so what brings you out here today?
Well, I was coming out here to...
Glasses off.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake and then go back home. There was, nothing that was going to be sexual involved because I'm not like that. Well, obviously the text messages and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was all that was going to happen.
You initiated conversation with a 13-year-old knowing she was 13, yes or no?
Correct.
Okay.
But they bungled the stuff so much, yeah, that they couldn't secure a conviction against him. So he's still out and about.
Oh, mad.
Yeah, doing things. His life has pretty much been ruined, yeah?
Yeah.
Because every job he gets, as soon as he's recognized, people like, yo, your guy is a predator, and he usually gets fired and stuff.
I was gonna say, mad, but it's not mad like that, Carl. You kind of deserve it, but
yeah, so like motels and stuff. There was reports that he was trying to change his name and everything.
Oh, mad.
Yeah, but obviously it's unsuccessful. Well, I don't know if he changed his name, but as soon as somebody sees him, they're gonna know. It doesn't matter what they think your name is. To them, you're EDP45.
Yeah. Someone might just write in and just be like, "Yo, quick picture." Do you know? What I mean?
So
screenshot.
Yeah. So I actually don't know the law. I'm not a lawyer, innit? So I don't know if like somebody who is an offender, can change their name. Because obviously you're supposed to be on a register. Yeah. If you're on a register and then you just change your name.
Quick.
Like, hey, you can do. Do you feel like the police should run a deputized unit of civilians? Because otherwise this is vigilante behavior.
What do you mean, like, so people...
So basically, there's a volunteer group.
Yeah.
You know, like how there's transport police. Transport police are not actually like policemen.
Yeah.
They just do the job and they're given...
How do you do that? How do you do that?
Wow.
An offender can change their name from prison or elsewhere at minimal or no cost and commence the process of obscuring their identity unmonitored. The Sexual Offence Act 2003 places the onus of reporting a name change on the registered sex offender.
That's crazy. So that's nuts because they could do it and then not just inform.
Yeah.
Yo, that's wild.
It's mad.
I wasn't expecting that to be honest.
Neither was I.
Yeah, that's crazy. So,
now you know.
Do you think that there should be something like this where, like the transport police, you have a group of people who have been trained by the police to hunt out child predators? I mean, in our community, it's always difficult because we have such a standoff with, like, the police.
Yeah, no,
definitely. And so, but like some of the most... Like, bro, I can only speak about some of my female friends, innit? and you hear how young they were when they were predated on by certain older men. And you just think like if there was more people who are in a position to get rid of those type of people, you know, how different and safer it could be. Like, we don't deal in utopias, so obviously things will still happen, but at least if you can reduce it, you know, by having like a volunteer thing where you volunteer, they send you on a course, and then you're deputized to carry out these things. Yeah, so you carry it out, you notify the police, you don't do it for YouTube, you don't entrap them. You know, do you think that would be one, do you think it would be helpful? Two, do you think that it's something the community would even consider?
So I think one, it probably wouldn't be helpful.
Wouldn't?
No.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. I feel like people can carry out citizens' arrests. You know, so you can arrest somebody if you suspect them of a crime. When you're talking about sending out,
if they actually have committed a crime.
Yeah, if they actually have committed a crime, yeah. So I think when you're like what you're talking about, what, like investigating services or something?
Yeah, because obviously in this case, the gentleman, it wasn't just a case of him stopping someone who was like committing a crime. But so he was online, he was pretending to be somebody, but in order to
But they couldn't really do that, innit? Like, you're talking about like a covert operation, innit?
Yeah. So you don't think that the police could teach you how to?
I think they can, but they're butt pocket. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, why? It's like saying, well, why didn't the police just do their job and just kept?
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? Like,
because the thing is that I understand that there are shortages in the police force.
Yeah.
And then they complain about like vigilante behavior.
Yeah.
And like people going to it. So for example, like poking out somebody's tires, like you've caused criminal damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like now you're in a position where actually somebody who is meant to be a perpetrator of a crime turns into a victim of a crime.
Yeah. Because of
obviously because you don't want to drive you don't want them to drive away and stuff like that. Yeah. So if you had like a badge or something like that and say like, I'm with this you need to step out the car. Yeah. And then if you don't, then like you write the name down, number plate down, and then the police can do a home visit or something like that. Because if you don't have enough police staff, and also I feel like there needs to be some sort of bridge between communities and police, because there is none. Yeah, they both see each other as ops.
Stop fighting, stop resisting.
There are a flurry of blows to his head and neck. As Rodwan lunges towards him a second time, he reaches for his taser.
But I think by doing what you're proposing, is basically like them saying we do have money and we do have the results. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like saying that they...
Not really, if it's voluntary.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about a voluntary group that will go and sign up, so you don't have to pay for it. I mean, I think from a governmental perspective, if they got to train them, then they're still... I mean, it's not as much money, but they might argue that it's still a cost.
Because you do it for transport, police. Who gives a... Like, think about it, like, who gives a toss about transport, bro?
Yeah, but transport's private. You see what the difference is?
Show me the money!
Big bread.
Yeah, bro. This is a money issue. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. If they had the money, they would have a division that deals specifically with...
Yeah, but wait. I feel like I'm treading on lots of stuff that I don't know,
Yeah.
But like, doesn't the budget from the transport police come from the police force?
And that's what I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Because that would be important to...
Like, I'm more than happy to do another Google search.
Yeah. Let's educate ourselves.
Yeah, educate ourselves and the people then, but...
Because for me, it's like, if you can put that money into doing that, then it makes sense to... Well, maybe it doesn't make sense. I'm not a lawmaker, but I just feel like there are guys out there who want to protect their families. There's guys who have young daughters and stuff, you know, and even, let's take it, they're young men, you know. And they need protection, bro.
So it's funded by the rail industry.
Rail?
Yeah.
Oh.
And does not receive direct Home Office funding.
That's why.
It's by the BTPA, is the governing body for the BTP, responsible for overseeing the provision of an efficient and effective police service.
Okay. So they're not coughing up.
That's what I said. Bro, listen. Right. They ain't coughing up nothing. Okay. Yeah? Let me tell you, yeah, it's mad, yeah. Like, I've seen how much is budgetary. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of stuff, yeah, is just dependent on a budget. It's dependent on how much money can we put in this area. Where is it ring fenced to? Do we have enough of it? So I knew, like, the British transport police, nah, they ain't coming out of local authority money. Yeah, it wouldn't make no sense.
Yeah, that's a shame. So, okay, let's move on slightly because... So what do you think about vigilantism as a thing? Because obviously, within the context of us being in London, we've seen a spate of crime, like murders, to do with young people specifically. And there's whenever something like this happens in the community, there is talk of a community police force that doesn't operate within, you know, what the legal requirements of a police force.
Yeah, no, I hear what you say.
So that they protect their own.
The first time you watch Training Day, innit, and you're like, yo, the police allowed to do this? Do you know what I'm saying?
So, but more like what are these guys called? The fruit of something. So, you know, the Nation of Islam, they had their own, like, police guys.
Okay. Original salute! Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Press Commissioner Drilling Men, sir. Ready? Put! Thank you, sir. Move! Can you stand the test? 40 years arrest? A lady is the best. Sir, we thank you. Without you, there's no we. Because we are free. Allah gave him the key. Sir, we thank you.
Okay.
You know, and so they were trained in like martial arts and stuff like that in order to protect
the community. Yeah, I've heard about them.
Yeah, so in those instances, do you think that we need something like that, or do you feel like we should be making inroads into like the legal system? It's a very hard question.
That's a hard question. I mean, I feel like the vigilante route, is always... It's always going to get the point across a little bit more. Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because you could do illegal things. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when you operate in the realms of the law, you're always going to have red tape and restrictions. Like, it just is what it is. And I think that when we go legally, it's always going to take longer. There's always going to be a permission. Like, for example, let's say that you wanted, to go out right now, and prove the world is flat to everybody. So you took your time and spoke to everybody, did your own research about why the world is flat, You have to ask no one for nothing. You don't even really need, like, timings of when you work. You just go out whenever you want and do your own thing, innit? There's no ring fence. But when you go through the legal system, let's say that you now want to establish this as a job, you know, you need your company, you need to register your company, you have to go on the health and safety, you got to have other employees, you got to give them, you better know employment law or have somebody. It just becomes more techie. Like, it just always is. So it's kind of like, a lot of the time, the vigilantes are good for when you want to get the message across a certain way. But it's not good when you want to go down the legal route. And if you want to go down the legal route, you get legal people. And if you get legal people, then you ain't doing no vigilante stuff. I just think it's a weird one, innit? But it's just a way of the world, innit? Like, if you want to beat someone up to show them a lesson, that ain't in any job description. Do you know what I'm saying? Not even the police, even though they be doing some wild and crazy stuff. You know, that's why they get called into account. Because
there's a legal framework.
There's a legal framework. So I feel like when it comes to these people, you know what I'm saying, the peasies, it's kind of like, yeah, if you're going to give them street justice, then the vigilante makes sense. But if you actually want to take them off of the roads, yeah, and detain them, then you've got to go down the legal route. Cause you're going to get yourself into sticky ground if you're trying to, you know, kidnap my man and put him in a, you know what I'm saying, in a basement somewhere.
But even just the confronting thing, because one of the things that they were saying is a lot of people who confront, like, especially like child offenders, yeah, is that they don't realize the potential danger that they can be in, like accusing somebody in public on a camera, right? And also the consequences of if they get something like that wrong.
Yeah.
If you got a massive platform and you out somebody as a pedophile,
yeah,
and they're not, yeah,
it's game.
It's game, bro.
Yeah.
And because always the retraction is less, right? So this is the thing that happens, and this is one of the kind of despicable things about social media, yeah, is that the accusation is always louder than the retraction. Yeah, because you get people who have agendas, yeah, they post it to their millions and millions of people, and there's no duty of care for those people to then post a retraction to the same amount of people. So for all they know, all their followers, like, they're still like, oh, ain't that child predator guy? And all the I don't know if you remember, like, some years ago, when the paedophile thing was like becoming a thing in the UK, yeah, like people becoming aware of it.
Yeah,
I remember I was like in year 9, yeah, back in the day, bro, and a group of people beat up a pediatrician because they mistook pediatrician for paedophile.
Yeah, you do that. Sorry, no. It's not.
You say you're an idiot, but a person got bootings, yeah. So this is the kind of thing that I talk about. Like, you have to. It's all good wanting to do something, but you have to learn how to do it properly.
No, yeah.
And I feel like I'm kind of in two minds about the whole vigilante thing, because I feel like I want integration with wider society. That's what I want as a person, yeah. But like, I feel like when you say we are gonna police ourselves, yeah, as a wider thing, you remove yourself from society. Like, you're more insulated, yeah. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. That I suppose there's another conversation for that. But also you have to make sure that those people who do stuff know how to do it properly. And how are they gonna do that? Like, for example, if somebody, you know, because we all have very visceral responses, to people who commit certain crimes within our community. Yeah. So like, okay, you're a person who's charged with protecting, let's just flesh this out, yeah? Wakanda Nation, yeah? You're charged with protecting young people within the space, yeah? Now you found a man who's a predator. Yeah, he's about to, like, he's been talking to a 13-year-old girl. He's agreed to meet her, stuff like that. You done all your paperwork and done it. Now, what do you do with that man? Do you just take him to prison? Do you give him a shoe-in? Like, because tempers are rising high, bro. Yeah, especially if you're a dad. What do you want? Like, you're gonna want to do something to that person. So then, where
you feel like the system's gonna go easy on them.
Yeah. So the whole thing with vigilantes is accountability. Like, how much do we hold them accountable for the things that they do in these kind of communities? But I also feel like there should be a blend. Like Mr. Lee, he was able to get people convicted. This is a useful guy. And he lost his life maybe because there weren't enough provisions, because the government didn't want to make a thing here or there. They just stepped off and said, well, we neither condemned or like appraised his actions.
That's what I don't like.
We just allowed him to, you know, because if you don't condemn somebody, then you allow them to do something. And so I would have
rather support him to do.
And then I just felt like but at the same time, it's like, this is the kind of risk you take when you take on vigilante work. It's like somebody who's like a prank. You know that recently a pranker got shot.
Hey, Dip, quit thinking about my twinkle.
No.
Hey, Dip, quit
Get out of my face and call the cops on. Stop. Stop.
This is the thing, like, I don't want to be, like, I respect life, yeah? But that's that kind of thing of, like, fuck around and find out, yeah? Like, so, it's the same with vigilantes, yeah? Because you're not protected by the law. You're entering into a situation where you're putting yourself in some kind of danger, but you're doing it for the good of your community or the good of a neighborhood. And I just feel like, if anything would be a bridge between the community and police forces, it should be this. Like, where they're saying, I feel like we should get some training, make sure that the way that they're doing it is within the legal system, and that they are allowed to go hunting for people who are like being predators and going after people's children. These men should be hunted down to the ends of the earth until I got no sympathy for them. I don't care if it's an orientation and all of this weird stuff. I don't care.
And I follow a similar stance, but the problem is that not everybody does. And so you have people in the police system who don't see nothing wrong. Do you know what I'm saying? And so this is, I don't know, it's always going to be a techie area, isn't it? Because it's kind of like, well, why would the institution that appraises that want to get rid of it? You know, like, or like, for example, you think about...
but you got to be careful, because it's like an insinuation that, like,
everyone in the police force think... No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, all right, cool. How do I put this? Like, sometimes, organizations don't see the way like what individuals see. Do you know what I'm saying? And it depends on the moral compass. It depends on finances. Who's in leadership. It depends on finances. It depends on a lot of things, isn't it? And I'm not saying this is right by any means, innit? But, you know, they may be thinking themselves, well, look at all the cuts, for example, you know, within budgets, you know, in terms of the freedoms of police, what they can do, what they can't do, you know. And then let's say they're not really getting many people into police force. I don't know, innit? They're like, why would we lose numbers? Like, why would we initiate something that could potentially lose us more numbers than gain us numbers, innit? So, yeah, I don't know, innit? I don't know what the answer is. I think it's a hard one, because vigilantes are cool, but when you get it wrong, it's not cool. Do you know what I'm saying? And when someone dies because they haven't had the correct training or the correct support, that's not cool either. And in this situation, law enforcement never took a stand to say, yeah, we're with this guy, we should protect him, or we're not with this guy,
and he should stop.
He needs to be sanctioned and stopped because of the risks associated, innit? And I feel like when, again, like, bro, like, watch Kick-Ass, do you get me? Like, the brother got bust up. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was comedy, do you know what I'm saying, to some degree. But he got his ass kicked. Do you know what I'm saying? For being a vigilante.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like people don't take that one seriously enough, innit? Like, you put yourself at significant risk. Do you know what I'm saying? People knocking at your doors. Let's say, like, now there's a rally of, what did you call them?
Abusers.
Yeah, child abusers. Yeah, I got to be politically correct. You know? Yeah. So let's say there's a group of child abusers and they rally together. You're just one person. If 10 of them knock on your door, ready to cause you harm, what are you doing? There's not a superhero movie.
Yeah. And even if you confront one and one is you know, because we have like certain perceptions, and the perception is like they're these nerdy guys. You know, like they're creepy looking, but they're frail and stuff like that. But what if you bump into someone and they're not like that?
Yeah, exactly.
And they look like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Mad.
Huh, yeah. Oh, Rock, thank
you. Do you
you.
feel what I'm saying?
Not saying Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Of course.
Like, but yeah, no, but you're right. And imagine you see 7.
Yeah.
A Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, a Brock Lesnar, Jason Statham. Do you know what I'm saying? You're done out here. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you've got children and stuff, you're putting them in danger, innit?
Yeah.
You're putting your loved ones in danger. So, yeah, the vigilante thing, I get why people do it, but, you know,
I just think you need to
Yeah,
take
the
time.
glass house and throwing stones thing. Yeah, just be careful.
Yeah, I'd say like try really hard to get some kind of commitment out of your local services,
MPs.
In order to like, because what now this man, you know, is survived by children, you know, and they're gonna grow up in a world without their dad. You know, and I think that's incredibly sad. If anybody has any interesting, well thought out ideas about why vigilantism is good and ways that it can be thing, like drop it in the comments. And I just want to hear people's general views on this in terms of what they think about vigilante behavior, whether it's necessary for especially certain areas. And I don't even want to make it a black and white thing, because there are some white areas that are kind of mad places in it, and there are some black areas that are kind of mad places. And whether anybody would think that vigilante system was a good thing or a bad thing, I just want to hear from everybody. So let us know. My name has been Sammy.
My name is Don.
And we've been the family.
We took off our chains, shone brighter than they ever did. We jumped around in the rain, and we were in our element. Yeah, we were throwing rollies in the river, Versace in the bin. Left it for the win. Yeah, we were throwing rollies in the river, Versace in the bin. Back when we were kings. They talk about their brands like it give them power. Here's my 50 cents when in the club. I was moving shower, I was moving ghost. Most of my dons thought I was moving sour. The beat knocks like Greg would get lost.